Welcome, everybody, to episode 8 of Photo Finish. I'm your host, Steve-O. This is your 2022 Preakness Stakes edition. Thank you to everybody who went back and listened to our Kentucky Derby preview or watched the video on YouTube where I showed you how to break down the racing form, and we went through the Kentucky Derby, capped it together on video. Before we get started today, I want to remind everybody to go to spinnablesports.com where you can get all your daily news and notes regarding everything that's happening in sports. I do want to go back before we get started talking about Preakness Stakes and just recap the Kentucky Derby very quickly. I'm going to show you here. We've got the Equibase. These are your finish for the Kentucky Derby. Rich Strike, long shot, 80-1 horse, pulled out the upset at the last second. If you recall, I gave you Epicenter as my pick to win. He was looking good until the very end when Rich Strike ran him down. What an amazing ride by Sonny Leone. Really was not on my radar or really anybody's radar. Like I said, 80-1, such a long shot. Just shows you anything's possible in horse racing. Really good story. But you'll see Rich Strike did win your Kentucky Derby. Epicenter was second. Zandon was third. Simplification was fourth. Mo Donegal, a horse I liked, came in fifth. So there's your results here from Equibase. You can see the race kind of played out as I anticipated. Summers Tomorrow went out on the early lead. Crown Pride, the Japanese horse, really pushed Summers Tomorrow. Really quick pace, fell apart. And, I think I mentioned in the preview, if the race falls apart, then some of these closers have a chance to come in and make a charge, and that's exactly what Rich Strike did. And I did mention Rich Strike had a 110 closing speed number at the Kentucky Derby, and he really was the horse to beat. I'm going to show you some of the numbers for Epicenter and Simplification as we get into our Preakness Stakes preview. We'll talk a little bit more about the finish of the Kentucky Derby. Overall, it was a profitable day for me. I hit some winners on the undercard. Gave out Secret Oath as a winner of your Kentucky Oaks on Friday. It wasn't all bad. I wish Epicenter could have pulled off the win. My day would have been much better than it was. Just while we're looking at the Kentucky Derby, like I said, 80-1, Rich Strike. So if you placed a $2 win bet on Rich Strike, would have paid $163.60. If you would have paired Epicenter, who went off as your favorite, with Rich Strike, if you would have got the exact order correct, placed a $2 wager on Rich Strike coming first, Epicenter coming second, or you could have boxed it, which is any order for $4, that paid $4,101. So, that's always the goal. Hit something big. The trifecta, 50-cent trifecta, paid $7,435. So there were some big winners out there at the Kentucky Derby. I hope some of our listeners had some of those winners. Let me get switched over to the Preakness Stakes racing form here. And just like last time, I liked how that went. I don't know if everybody else enjoyed it, but I think handicapping the race as I talk through all the entrants and kind of pick winners together, I liked how that worked out. I don't particularly care for many of the undercard races on this Preakness Stakes card. I'm just going to get right to it, and we're going to talk about the 147th running of the Preakness Stakes. This will be Saturday, May 21st at 7:01 p.m. Going off as race 13, last race of the day from Pimlico Racetrack. The Maryland Jockey Club puts on this race just outside of Baltimore every year. I believe we've got 9 horses in the field. Yes, 9 horses in the field. We're going to start with the one horse, Simplification, who was in the Kentucky Derby. You'll see Simplification finished 4th at the Kentucky Derby to Rich Strike, Epicenter, and Zandon. Had a 115 speed figure. These are, again, this is the time form speed figures. You may hear folks mention buyer speed, which is a very common speed figure that's used across racing. Buyer speed is different than the figures that I'm looking at. Time form has a different way of grading races, and so a time form number is going to be higher than a buyer speed. So just wanted to clarify that for anybody out there who may be looking at buyer speed figures. these numbers are going to be different. So simplification, as I mentioned, was your fourth place finisher at the Kentucky Derby had a 115 speed figure, which was very good. Overall, simplifications, speed figures have been improving over his career. This is Antonio Sano, racehorse. Johnny Velasquez, Johnny V gets the mount here in your Preakness Stakes after Jose Ortiz rode him in the Kentucky Derby. If his speed numbers can continue to improve, this is a little bit short of race, mile and 3/16. If his speed numbers can continue to improve, Simplification's a horse that I like. He could definitely hit the board. We're going to come back to him 6-1 on the morning line. Second horse, Creative Minister. Kenny McPeak, Brian Hernandez Jr. gets the mount. This horse ran 14 days ago on May 7th, which was Kentucky Derby Day. Did not run in the Kentucky Derby, obviously, but ran on one of the undercard races. Won that race with a 108 speed figure. Prior to that, had won at Keeneland and finished second at Gulfstream Park. His speed figures are improving, which is good to see. Hope he has not peaked. So I think this race is going to take probably a 115 or better speed figure to get the win. I don't know that this horse has enough. I wouldn't necessarily throw it out from hitting the board. He just has not seen anything like the speed that's going to be in the Preakness. Has not raced against the same level of competitions, never raced in a grade 1 race, obviously no grade 2s, grade 3s. I wouldn't just throw this horse out, but I'm not in love with it either. Let's go down to Fenwick, third horse in the race, 50-1 in the morning line. Finished 11th in the Bluegrass Stakes. Did win before that in Tampa on a $40,000 maiden race. Really was not impressive for that. 86 speed figure in the Bluegrass, not going to be nearly enough in this race. This is a total 100% pass for me. Number 4, Secret Oath. Here was your winner, as I just mentioned, in the Kentucky Oaks. Extra day of rest for this filly. It's a D. Wade and Lucas horse. Really talked her up for the Kentucky Oaks. As I mentioned, I thought she could have competed with the boys in the Kentucky Derby. And at a 116 number, she absolutely could have. I believe I went back and looked at, again, using the time form numbers. The Kentucky Derby was a 119. Epicenter, who finished second to Rich Strike, was a 120. So even though Epicenter finished second, still had a better time form number overall just because of the race that he ran. 119 was the winner, 120 was Epicenter, and then I believe Zandon ran a 118. So that gives you an idea of what it took to win the Kentucky Derby. Secret Oath is right there. She may need to show just a little bit more to win the Preakness. Definitely a horse I like. I liked her at the Kentucky Oaks. I think she can compete with the boys. She did finish third running with the boys at the Arkansas Derby to Cyberknife and Barber Road, but I don't think that was her best race. Obviously, her top speed figure came last time out. If she can run around a 116 again, maybe even improve on that time a little bit, then Secret Oath, absolutely a horse that can win this race. Luis Saez gets the mount again. He rode her in the Kentucky Oaks. Here is a horse, the 5 horse that we need to talk about. Did not run in the Kentucky Derby, finished second in the Wood Memorial, which was enough points to get him into the Kentucky Derby. His trainer, Chad Brown, and we're talking about early voting here, his trainer, Chad Brown, decided not to run him in the Kentucky Derby, even though he was eligible. Had a 121 speed figure in the Wood Memorial to Mo Donegal. Very impressive speed figure. At a 105 in the race before that. This is a horse that's got the speed to compete with the top horses in this race. As you can see, last race April. Chad Brown, I believe at least twice, maybe 3 times, has had a horse that has skipped the Kentucky Derby and came in and won the Preakness off extended rest. Early voting is a horse you have to use in this race. Question is, how's the race going to play out? Let's scroll up and look at what time form says. Time form is projecting that early voting will be on the lead with Epicenter and the 7 horse just off the pack. 7 is Aromatic. Question is, will the speed hold up this time? It did not hold up in the Kentucky Derby. There was just such a blazing fast pace where the leaders really died at the end of the race. I don't believe that Epicenter will push early voting. Epicenter will allow early voting set his own pace. So, with that being said, early voting could absolutely hold on to win. It's a horse that you have to consider, especially on the layoff and being a Chad Brown horse. He's done this before. He knows how to win the Preakness. Let's go on and look at Happy Jack, the 6 horse, 30 to 1 on the morning line. Doug O'Neill, Tyler Gaffney-Leone connection. This horse was in your Kentucky Derby, finished 14th, 96 speed figure. Was not impressive at all in the Kentucky Derby. For that, finished third in the Santa Anita Derby to Tyba Messier. Had a 110 speed figure there. I don't want to say this horse cannot compete here, but he would have to run the best race of his career, which so far has not only 5 races. He won his maiden and has not done a whole lot since then. So I will not be using the 6 horse. Number 7 we talked about. This is a Tim Yaktine horse. Again, Tim Yaktine did take over some horses from Bob Baffert. You can see Baffert trained this horse as recently as March 5th at Santa Anita. This horse did run in the Santa Anita Derby, finished 4th at a 110 speed figure. Came back, ran at Santa Anita on Sunday after the Derby, finished 1st at a 111 speed figure. This horse is improving speed-wise. I'm not sold on Tim Yaktine. If you recall, I really liked Messier, possibly hit the board at the Kentucky Derby. I was not impressed with the horses, how Tim Yaktine had prepared his jockeys and the horses to run in the biggest race of their career. I'm passing on the 7. 8, Epicenter. Steve Asmussen, Joel Rosario. This is a horse that I liked to win the Kentucky Derby. Was looking really good, with a quarter to go pole. Just was run down by Rich Strike. Rich Strike had an amazing ride by Sonny Leone to win that race. Really nothing that you can fault Epicenter on. 120 speed figure, top of his career. You can see his numbers have consistently improved. I would be shocked if we see anything better than that in this race. I still like Epicenter. I'm hopeful that he can come back off this, just 2 weeks later. It's not a lot of rest, but you got to imagine that Asmussen would not have this horse in this race if he was not ready to go. I will be having some of the 8 horse. Let's go down and look at the last one. In the field, this is Skippy Longstocking. Saffy Joseph Jr.'s trainer. Junior Alvarado is your jockey. Last time out at the Wood Memorial in April. This horse finished 3rd. Mo Donegal in early voting, who we know is in this field. Had a 116 speed figure again. This horse, this colt, is improving each time out. I do like that. It's rested. 20 to 1, I think, is way too long for this horse. I do think of Saffy Joseph more as a turf trainer. Has not had is not really broken through on the big stage. Has some success down at Gulfstream Park where he runs horses. That's kind of his home base. I think at 20 to 1, I'll be looking at probably a win place bet. We'll see what his odds look like closer to race time. This is a horse that I will, kind of a long shot, I would probably be throwing into some exotics. And speaking of exotics, let's figure out who we're going to pair the 9 with. Obviously, I told you I like I like Epicenter. I like early voting. I like Secret Oath. Simplification, I'm afraid may have peaked. Drawing the rail again. I don't love horses that draw the rail, but in this race you've only got 9 horses as opposed to 20 from the Kentucky Derby, so it's not as much of a problem. I saw Mo Donegal finish 5th from the rail at the Kentucky Derby, so Johnny V is one of the best jockeys of all time, so he knows how to ride. I have no doubt that simplification can compete with the horses in this race. I am going back once again to Epicenter. I think Epicenter ran phenomenal race at Kentucky Derby. I can't find any fault what Joel Rosario did. He was just beaten by a better horse that day. I'm going back to Epicenter as my pick to win the Preakness Stakes. I'm going to pair Epicenter with early voting. Early voting is my second pick to win, so I'll be doing exacta box. Epicenter, early voting. I will probably throw the 9 into a 50-cent try box with the 8 and the 5, and I'll have some of the 4. I just like Secret Oath too much. I'll have probably an 8-5 9 try box and probably an 8-5 4 try box. But Epicenter is my choice to win this race. I think looking at numbers from Kentucky Derby, he did nothing wrong. Was as good as advertised, beaten by a better horse that day, who is not in this race. It does concern me about the Chad Brown horse coming in fresh. Would not be surprised to see early voting potentially go off as your race time favorite. We'll keep an eye on that. Closer to the start of the Kentucky Derby, about 7 o'clock on Saturday. Again, Epicenter's my pick to win. I like early voting. I like Secret Oath, your 4. And then my long shot would be Skippy Longstocking, the 9. So that's how I see the race. Hopefully, are helping you, kind of giving you the tools to help pick your own winners. Hopefully, we've helped some folks along the way. That's your preview for the 2022 Preakness Stakes. We'll be back in another couple of weeks with your 2022 Belmont Stakes preview. But until next time, go subscribe anywhere you can find podcasts, Apple, Spotify. Go watch us on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast audio version, I would encourage you to go watch this on YouTube, where I've got the racing form on the screen. You can see the past performance as I'm going through it and trying to pick a winner. So until next time, good luck, race fans, and let's pick some winners.